Warning, what you're about to hear is a very adult conversation with some adult and sometimes offensive language. We do not apologize for our opinions or our jokes. We let adults say what adults are going to say. Listen at your risk. You are listening to a special edition of the IU Report, a Big Ten Tournament Day 2 recap. The Hoosiers lose, but we'll be back tomorrow night anyway because we still have Purdue and Jake Dunn to talk about the Boilermakers. I hope that our guest tonight, Grant Shouse, who's going to lead the conversation, Mike Hutsell, Dave Chanley, and Michelle Garmon will be back tomorrow night, even though the Hoosiers aren't. We got 4 IU fans. This should be fun. Hey, guys, make sure you talk about the other games just a little bit.
I'll talk about the other games all night if you want to, as long as we're not to talk about that IU game.
Pretty disappointing showing. Indiana still has not beaten Northwestern since the Archie Miller era. This team will never win a Big Ten tournament, ever. I'm not sure I'll ever see it happen in my life. I was confident there would be things in my life I would never see Indiana do that they did. The Big Ten tournament is not one of those things that I'm confident will ever go Indiana's way. They have never had success in it, even when they were the number one team in the country with Tom Crean. And they will never be good. They will never be good in the Big Ten tournament.
I just think if you ever hear a scenario where they say Indiana's going to have to go on a run in their conference tournament to shore up that at-large bid, just forget about it ever freaking happening.
That's true,
Because
but they don't really deserve to be in the tournament.
No, they don't. The only argument for it was nobody else seems to want it. You had to try not to make the tournament this year, and man, did Indiana try. Because this is a team that has won one time since February the 7th.
Unbelievable.
The night that we had an impromptu meetup in the lobby of the Oregon game, that was their second to last win of the year. Wow. And their only win in that stretch was at home against Northwestern, who had 6 scholarship players.
So, Greg, can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Did you only invite me on this podcast so I could just get mad?
No.
Because this stuff really, this whole IU basketball stuff has just made me so mad over the years. This is it's just been a boiling point here. And
all right, Grant, count to 10. Dave, your thoughts.
I've got a lot of thoughts. First of all, the sky isn't falling, and I'm not talking about just this year. I'm talking about long term. Darren DeVries is a really good basketball coach. You guys can say what you want. Anybody can. I'll set him straight quick. He's a really good basketball coach, and I am really looking forward to what he brings to IU. He was in a situation where he was handcuffed with a late start trying to put together a team. He was able to put together a team. But if you go back through his record, he did wonders at Drake, had a good year at West Virginia. So from the standpoint of Darren DeVries, I've got no problem, and I'm 100% supportive, and will say he is much, much better than the last 2 coaches we've had.
Amen.
Because that was 8 years of misery. And Woody, unfortunately, left that place in a shambles. But that's what I'll say. I also say this about IU. First of all, they're very limited on their talent. They are. They have really no inside presence. They got as much out of those 2 guys together as they could, but they were both guys that we got because that was all that was left in the portal by the time we got around to getting them. We had good shooters, but shooters that had to get open, and it was difficult. Now, I'll say this one thing about coaching and teams. The longer a season goes, the more problems are found with your team. In other words, the scouting, the more glitches you can see. Northwestern had them scouted to a T, and as the season wore on, Indiana got more exposed. Maybe that's the way I should say it. They got more exposed.
100%.
as the season went on with their weaknesses. So from that standpoint, I got no problem with this. They won 18 games. One question I have would be, I'm not sure how they won 18 games.
Yeah.
But, and at the same time, Northwestern lost 18 games. Now, somebody explain to me how that team lost 18 games, because that's a really good basketball team.
And Collins started with a lot more in his cupboard than DeVries did.
Yes. Yeah.
Are we saying that's a good basketball team because we watched them play Indiana twice this year? Because
No, they're not a good basketball team, but they should have been ahead probably of Indiana because they had some veterans. And I maybe I'm an anomaly. I didn't expect a lot from this year's Hoosiers because DeVries got the job. 6 days later, the portal opened. He didn't have a complete staff. He had to go. He had 0 players returning and 1 high school incoming recruit. Woodson, he severed pretty much all relationships in high school recruiting. And DeVries started behind the 8 ball. I'm amazed. Truthfully, I'm kind of amazed IU won 18 games.
Yeah, the only issue is at one point they looked like a sure NCAA team and they fell apart.
Yeah.
That's the issue.
Yeah, that is the issue. 100%.
But it's like Dave said, once you get more film, I know. I've broke down film. I've done scouting for coaches. The more film you have, the more your weaknesses show. And so as the season progresses, good coaches are going to find your weaknesses and exploit them.
I love you, Michelle. Oh.
Hey, I get being cranky tonight. If Purdue loses to Northwestern tomorrow night, I'm going to be super cranky.
I'll say this. Hopefully that Ryan Carr, who they've now brought in as their GM, him and DeVries can kind of hit the ground running when the portal opens up. Next, the big question I wanted to ask is, do you think Indiana will accept the postseason bid to the Crown or to the NIT, or should they?
No. I don't know that they shouldn't, but I don't think they 100% will not.
I agree. I was kind of thinking the same thing.
6 of those guys are seniors who could give 2 craps about playing in the Crown. If you wanted to play it and give Ristich and Sisley and Dorn and Miles minutes, I guess you could, but I just don't see a lot of enthusiasm by Tate and Connerway or any of those guys to run out there and play in a half-empty arena in Vegas at the Crown.
I bet Lamar Wilkerson would love more basketball.
He looked genuinely just distraught, and it was kind of hard to watch him on the bench because
he just loves basketball.
He loves and that guy came to Indiana thinking, I'm going to play one more year of basketball. I've got a chance to go somewhere. I've got a chance to make a huge name for myself, and I got a chance to play postseason basketball, and it fell apart on him. And that's the shame of this season, because I feel like that's the one guy that has completely put his name in the Indiana record books. He's a guy that Indiana fans will remember and they'll talk about fondly for years to come now. And to see it fall apart for him, it was very, very difficult, because you just wanted to see that guy go out with a bang, and it just was such a whimper instead, the way this season went out. 5 of 6 to close out the season.
I agree. I agree with you there, Mike. And going back to the point about not accepting the postseason bid to the Crown, if they do or don't, just kind of like you said, you can make the argument if you want to get some of those guys minutes like Sisley and Josiah Miles. If you want them to play, sure, but I'm just not sure it's worth going out and wasting your time. That tournament doesn't start for another 3 weeks. You're going to sit around and kind of probably take some time off here if you are going to get back in the Crown. I wouldn't be shocked if the season was over. And this was the last game of the year. It is pretty amazing that Indiana did win 18 games with the roster they had. Because at the start of the season, we kind of liked what this team was doing at the start of the year. And like Dave said, they just got exposed. You saw more on film that you could take away. The problem I had tonight was the execution just didn't look like it was there from them on offense. Now you get the ball and just kind of hold it and let guys go through the motions and not know what to do with the ball and take long possessions where the shot clock's winding down and you got to jack up a bad shot just because you have to shoot it. Those are the things that I think make me frustrated more than anything is kind of the execution and the kind of the just going through the motions in the second half. And you let the West kid for Northwestern just tear you up. Pennsylvania's Mr. Basketball. You let the Martinelli dude go off. Just wasn't their night, and it had to be their night. It's just, and it's unfortunate because we talked about this team for a long time, thinking they could be an NCAA tournament team, and now the season's probably over, and you're definitely had your bubble bursted tonight with the loss to Northwestern. And it may have stayed afloat if you won this game and even lost to Purdue. You may have had a shot on Sunday.
Yep.
You can throw all that out the window.
Well, that's all right. Like I said, this team doesn't belong in the NCAA tournament. They would have probably been one and done. I will say this. I think where you see that DeVries and his staff are going to be fine is the development of Lamar Wilkerson. He became, he was just a straight shooter. As the season continued to go on, he found a way to finish at the rim, create his own shot. I know he's a hard worker. The whatever special they did on him and, the gym time, but kudos to them. I will say this too. Darren DeVries got a firsthand look at, and unless you coach in that league, unless you play in that league, unless you regularly attend games at the Big Ten in Big Ten play, no one really realizes and you can't see it on TV as much, how physical the Big Ten officials allow the game to be played in the Big Ten. And again, I really believe that's why the Big Ten struggles in the NCAA tournament. I mean, it's a physicality at another level that they allow in the Big Ten.
I'm going to agree with you, Michelle, especially on the part of Coach DeVries getting a good look at what the Big Ten is all about. Not that he didn't know before, because I think he did, but from the standpoint of trying to recruit personnel, he now has a better idea of what he needs to get. So, and he will now have a jump on the portal, which he didn't have last year. Let's be honest. The people in the portal, the people going in the portal, everybody already knows who it is. Not everybody, but I'll say coaches already know who's going to be in the portal because they've got agents that have already contacted. You can say that's tampering. Okay. Yeah, it is. And everybody's doing it. Let's just look at IU football. The portal opened on January 2nd. And on that particular weekend, right then, the 3rd, I think, they had like 10 visitors. Now, how did they have that all every lined up when nobody was in the portal? Because they already knew who was going to be in the portal. I'm not saying they cheated. I'm just saying that's the way it works.
This whole thing is fixed.
Yeah. And right now, I am sure DeVries already knows who he wants from the portal, even though nobody's in it.
Yeah,
guys, I know we're going to have to go pretty soon because Rutgers, Minnesota is about to get underway, and I know no one wants to miss that.
Oh my goodness!
No, I don't want to. I don't need to go see a bricklayers convention.
Hey, guess what, guys? In the last 10 NCAA tournaments, Indiana has the same number of appearances as Rutgers.
Oh,
yeah, that doesn't surprise me.
Now, I will say this, though. I will expect more next year. I didn't expect a whole lot this year because of the lateness of the hire and everything, but I will expect more next year.
I think that's fair.
That's fair. No question.
I agree.
This will sound crazy, but the loss tonight prevented Indiana from having to face Purdue again. And the one thing Indiana can do to Purdue, it can fix whatever problems Purdue has, because Purdue would suddenly find how good they are when they play Indiana.
So that's
well, Dave, you got to remember this: the last time Indiana and Purdue got together, was the day after the big Bloomington tornado, and you could just tell Indiana's mind wasn't there, and just those poor kids had to go out and try and compete in that game. I know Mike brought that up on the last IU Purdue pod, but I mean, that is really one of the things you got to take into consideration, that Indiana was just not playing at full strength mentally that night. So this could have been a different outcome, I think.
A Purdue program that's built on lies. Let's remember.
Yep.
Built on lies, a national title that didn't actually take place.
1932.
Not even real.
Mythical title.
Not even real.
It's as valid as every college football championship till 2021.
Oh, I brought something up I shouldn't have.
Iowa, Ohio State. That should be a good one.
I'm on the record as saying Ohio State is my sleeper in this tournament. I don't think they're going to win it, but that's not a team that I'd want to be playing right now. They really, really seem to get it going into March. And they have 5 guys who can score, unlike a team from Bloomington that we just watched that had 1 guy who can score.
Hey, I am really, really excited for the Bennett Sturts Bruce Thornton matchup on Thursday afternoon at 12 o'clock. Seriously, those are two of the most underrated, maybe not underrated, but maybe 2 of the most not talked about enough guards in the Big Ten. Bennett Sturts came in from Drake, and Bruce Thornton is the all-time leading scorer in the history of Ohio State basketball. So that is going to be a really fun matchup. I watched Iowa, Maryland today.
How dare you name the top guards in the Big Ten and not name Zoom Deal?
I chose not to go there.
Whoever wins between Ohio State and Iowa tomorrow, that's going to be their last game in the tournament.
Usually in the Big Ten, somebody gets on a heater.
Yes, they do.
Or not their last
usually Iowa.
And gets going. And yeah, I will say you'll have a surprise winner of the Big Ten. I don't think Michigan doesn't need to win it. Who cares? They're a number 1 seed regardless. Mm-hmm. All they got to do is throw their shoes out there and go home and be ready for the next one. I'll say the same thing for Illinois. Doesn't need to win it. They're in. I just think we'll have a surprise winner because somebody will get on a roll and blow through the tournament.
Do qualify as a surprise winner?
That would be a shock winner.
Whoa.
I've got some theories on Purdue if you want to hear them. The problem last year they were a really good basketball team. And part of the reason was Trey Kaufman-Wren had the post to himself. Now, they recruited Clough. Now, it's too crowded down there. Trey Kaufman-Wren has had a bad season, or not a bad season. He's done what he needs to do, and he is a team player. But I just have no idea why Clough hasn't set the bench and let Trey Kaufman-Wren have his way down there and win some basketball games.
Dave, offensively, it's not atrocious. Defensively, it's a disaster. Those two cannot play together on the court at the same time defensively.
I keep telling you, Purdue is not athletic enough.
They were in 1932.
Greg, if that makes you happy in your little fantasy alternate dream world, then go for it.
I don't know. Running the Amish national team out there.
I'm just going to say I was born in 1950, so that's as far back as I want to even consider the IU and Purdue series. And since 1950, Indiana versus Purdue in basketball is an even 71-71.
Wow. In my lifetime, Purdue has a winning record. I just want to point that out to Hutsell, who always says Purdue got all their wins at the beginning.
They did.
It's all right. Purdue's got to have
a winning record in my lifetime.
Men's basketball and volleyball right now, because otherwise IU pretty much owns all the other sports. Owns Purdue and all the other sports.
Yep.
Since integration, Greg, it's like a tie series. But which amazingly enough, apparently Matt Painter hasn't learned about integration yet because he's running 5 white guys right now. But
that would ooh.
Oh.
I guarantee you this: Purdue loses their next game, there will be a bunch of Purdue people saying, "Why do we have Matt Painter as coach?" And I will say the same thing that I said about Darren DeVries. You guys are idiots. You have no idea what you really have in Matt Painter.
Yep.
I'm right there with you.
I love it. I don't care if he never wins a national championship. I love him, but I hope he does win a national championship. But we'll always have 1932.
Northwestern, Purdue, who are we going with in that one?
I'll say Purdue because Northwestern, you can play back-to-back games before you lose your legs. About halftime of the third game on the third day, those legs are gone, and it becomes really hard to play and really hard to shoot. And Purdue will be on fresh legs. So I would just be very surprised if Purdue doesn't take care of business against Northwestern.
Greg, before we go, because I did not give my prediction on Purdue Northwestern, I'm probably going with the Boilers on this one, as much as I hate to say it. Plus,
Yes.
I'd like to see another Purdue-Nebraska game on Friday. I think that'd be a good Friday night matchup. So I'm going to rock with the Boilermakers. I'm going against my better judgment, but just give me Purdue on Thursday night, take care of business against Northwestern.
How does Michigan State get the winner of Rutgers, Minnesota, and UCLA?
Because they're good.
Well, see, there's this thing called a bracket, Greg.
And a seeding.
Michigan actually has good teams in theirs.
And it's seeded by the way the conference standings went. If Purdue had won one of the 6 games they lost at home, they would be higher in the standings
5
than 7th.
No, it was 5 games.
Wow. You and Michelle are trying to exaggerate that.
My shock of the season is that Purdue lost 5 games at home
And
because they don't lose at home.
They got whipped a couple times at
It's
home.
the perfect
times they
time
did.
to leave. Good night, everybody. Talk to you tomorrow night.
Greg, you're playing a 15 seed tomorrow, and you're complaining about who the other teams are playing in the bracket.
Oh, but Mike,
Boiler up.
what's Purdue's record against 15 seeds sometimes?
Well, they're the only team that's ever lost to one in the Sweet 16. I can tell you that much.
Oh man, that was mean.
They lost. Purdue lost to 15 and a 16 seed team. Woo!
Yeah.
Hey, they got to get that 3 seed so they can potentially put a 14 on Matt Painter's March resume.
This is brutal.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, Greg.
The Central Indiana Sports Report is a product of ITG Media, and I love Susie.